1 in 10 babies are born premature, and it is the leading cause of infant death in the United States. This is according to the CDC website on June 21st, 2016. My name is Nicole Burt, and I'm sure you all know that this is something that has affected my life greatly. My son was born at 27 weeks gestation, and we were one of the lucky ones that had a pretty relatively good NICU stay at only 8 weeks with not a lot of health issues. There are many health issues that could affect premature babies in the short term and the long term. Now that I've gave you a little preview, I'm going to define for you what premature birth is. According to the World Health Organization website on June 21st, 2016, there are 3 different categories that you can use to define premature birth. The first one is extremely early, which is any baby that is born before 28 weeks gestation. The earliest baby that has ever been born was at 22 weeks and survived. It is very unlikely for a baby that young to survive. The older and longer, obviously, the more likely they're going to survive. The next classification is very premature, which happens from 28 weeks gestation to 32 weeks gestation. The last category is moderate to late term prematurity, which is from 32 weeks gestation to 37 weeks gestation. There are many contributing factors that could cause this to happen. Most times, a lot of the time, the doctors don't know the reason that it happens, but there are some factors that contribute to this. And according to the American Pregnancy Association website, pregnancy with multiples often results in a premature birth, as well as previous premature births. And there are several risk factors that can contribute to premature birth. These include recurring bladder and kidney infections, urinary tract infections, any infection with a fever greater than 101 degrees Fahrenheit could cause you to go into labor early. Another is unexplained bleeding after 20 weeks gestation. This was one of the contributing factors for me. Started bleeding, didn't know why, and got hospitalized and found out that it was actually my water breaking. Another is the short term between pregnancies, which is another factor that contributed to mine, and that is when there is 6 to 9 months from the end of one pregnancy to the beginning of the next pregnancy. There are lifestyle factors that can contribute to premature birth. These include smoking, little or no prenatal care, alcohol, illegal drugs, domestic violence, stress, and standing for long periods of time. Now that you know some of the risk factors and the warning signs of premature birth, let's go over some of the possible health issues that preemies may face in the short term and in the long term. There are possible lifelong effects that premature babies can face. On the UK Care Health website on August 10th, 2015, most babies can be born with a short-term respiratory distress. A lot of these will be on life support, including ventilators, for varying lengths of time. I was lucky with my son, and he was only on the respirator for 1 day and then was on a normal nasal cannula. The March of Dimes says that one of the breathing issues that can happen with premature babies is asthma. Another that they list is bronchopulmonary disease, which is where the lungs don't grow normal or they're inflamed. This may go away and be resolved with no issues, or it could lead to a lifelong breathing issues as well as having asthma. They also might have intestinal issues, such as necrotizing enterocolitis, which affects your intestines. Most heal fully. There are some cases where they have lifelong effects with their colon, and they might possibly have to have parts of their colon removed. Another issue that premature babies will face very often is hearing and vision problems. Retinopathy of prematurity retinas are not fully developed. This is mostly mild with no treatment necessary, but it can result in serious vision issues as well as blindness. 400 to 600 babies a year will go blind according to the March of Dimes due to this disease. They have a higher risk of hearing issues than babies that are born at a normal gestation. Long-term effects can vary in severity. They're higher risk for behavioral and learning disabilities. Some of these include the attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, and as well as autism. They're more likely to require early intervention or special education. My son was enrolled in early intervention, and they are a huge help. Even if your baby's not super far behind, they catch it before it gets bad and give your baby the best chances of not falling behind developmentally, whether it be physically or mentally. The March of Dimes also lists neurological disorders that the babies could deal with for long term. This includes cerebral palsy, which affects the brain, the spinal cord, and nerves. Now that I've explained all that to you, I think that I've cleared up some of the misconceptions that happen. Most people don't know much about prematurity. You don't realize how much it affects people. I can pretty much guarantee that you know that somebody in your life that has been affected by premature birth. And 1 in 10 cases of babies are born premature. I hope that my speech has helped you understand how that you could possibly help prevent this from happening and what could happen if you end up having a premature baby. My experience, I hope, shows you that it doesn't always have to be a worst case scenario. There are many premature babies that don't have very many health issues and end up living very successful and healthy lives. And of course, there are some that are not. Birth may not always be the magical experience that you believe it's going to be, but it's always going to be worth the ride.